Hello, everyone, and welcome back to a segment of Creating Awareness. I'm Melinda, and I am an abuse survivor. And just like our last segment, we're still in our Hurt But Healing series. We want to recognize patterns that we may have overlooked. So this week, we are going to be talking about discussing minimum uh, minimal rejections. We all know the huge rejections, when someone breaks up with us, when someone just pushes us away. We know the huge rejections that, okay, this person really doesn't want me around. But what about those little, small, tiny rejections that we might dismiss sometimes because we might not always recognize that it's a rejection? I was listening to a quote a couple of weeks ago, and I thought it was beautifully put. And the person said, stop putting a comma where there should be a period. So stop ad-libbing what you think this person is trying to get across to you and listen to what they say, accept, receive what they say, and put a period on it. Stop it right there. If this person says, we're just friends, period. Not comma, but might want to date later, just period. So I definitely wanted to add that to this week's segment. So what are some mini rejections? What does this look like? These are my definition. They are subtle rejections or small escapes your partner or potential mate will use to disassociate themselves of sharing any responsibility with you, with us, by keeping distance of accountability for what goes on in our daily lives. This is when you have a need or an emergency, and we go to our partner or our potential mate and, to possibly help us fix this issue, but they keep themselves unavailable or removed from our conflict. So, Matthew chapter 10, verse 14 from the KJV tells us, and whosoever shall not receive you, nor hear your words, when ye depart out of that house or city, shake off the dust of your feet. And this scripture is pertaining to when you're trying to preach the gospel or share the word of the gospel, and for those people who are who may be unbelievers or may not be receiving of this information, instead of us pleading with them and saying, okay, well, you really need to hear about Jesus, etc. Shake, if they don't receive you, shake the dust off from your feet. Well, how do we apply this to our everyday life? If you're vetting a potential mate, or maybe you're already in a relationship and you're noticing this pattern that this person really doesn't receive me, they're really not that into me, why are you here? Instead of us trying to validate ourselves, which is what we do a lot when we're trying to gain an understanding, instead of us trying to validate ourselves, we need to just shake the dust from our feet and move on with our lives, because maybe this person isn't meant to be a part of our life. But I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. So, what can these mini rejections look like? I'm going to give you five. They're in no particular order. And these are just ones I came up with. But I definitely encourage you to add your own mini rejections that you may have experienced in the comment section. So our first one is going to be, and this is common. Let's say you go to your mate or potential mate And you say, "Hey, I'm having some issues here. Um, my light bill needs to be paid, maybe my phone bill, whatever bill. Let's just say you need a little bit of financial assistance." So you go to your potential mate or your mate, and all of a sudden they have something that came up. They had to go and get their car fixed or their daughter's car fixed or anything to keep from saying that they don't have it financially or they just don't want to give it to you financially. It's like now that I need you, now that I have this event in my life, you're making yourself unavailable. And this isn't in every case because there are times when the person really just doesn't have it. But, these are things that we want to pay attention to. And this will not be a one time thing that you'll notice with this person. Like whenever you reach out to them for financial help, you're going to notice that they're always financially unavailable to assist you, even though you guys are maybe in a committed relationship or the middle of the relationship. You just notice that whenever I need you, you're basically letting me know I can't need you. So our second one is you ask them for help or something. Like let's say you need your yard done or you need something fixed around the house, and what they'll do is instead of saying, okay, well, yeah, I'll take care of that for you, or I know a guy and I'm going to send them over, they're going to, what they're going to do is they're going to project and say, well, can't someone else help you? You'll do great at doing that. All you have to do is this. you know, um, can't your mom help you or can't your kids do that for you if you have children involved? You're going to notice that they're going to remove themselves from any responsibility, but they're going to make sure that they encourage you to take on all the responsibility for yourself. You can do it. I know you can do that. Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can fix your flat tire. You got all the equipment you need to fix your flat tire. You got it. They're not going to come out and help you. They're just going to encourage you to do it yourself without them. And this is also why we need to really pay attention to who we decide to um, lay down with, who we decide to invite into our private spaces, because when they're showing this type of minimal rejection that they're there, but they're not all the way there. They're just like 25% there, and the other 75% is you. You don't want to ignore these forms of red flags. So our third one is going to be you ask them a question. Maybe you ask them, so, how do you feel about me? Or how do you feel about our relationship? Or where do you see me in your future? And they don't respond. They go quiet. It's like they ignore you, and then they turn the conversation into a totally different they change the subject on the conversation. Instead of responding and answering you, they change the subject because they don't want to really be honest with you on where they see you, and they lack communication skills. So that's a form of rejection. If I'm asking you a question that seems important enough to me to ask you, then why aren't you capable of responding to my question? I also want to add to that. I feel like personally, when people do that to me, when they avoid my question and then reroute the conversation, change the course of our conversation, it's showing dishonesty. What are you trying to hide? What is it that you don't want me to know? What aren't you trying to reveal about how you feel about me or the status of our association? So our fourth one is going to be, and this is common, no label. you're in a relationship with this person, but they still introduce you as a friend or just by your name. Oh, hey, yeah, no, this is Melinda. You know, there's no understanding on your placement in this relationship. You don't know if you're their woman, their man, their boyfriend, girlfriend, future something. You're just who you are. You're Melinda. Hi, this is Melinda. And this is why also, this is also where we get into that we're playing house with this person because we're doing the things that a girlfriend slash boyfriend would do in a relationship, but we're not receiving the same effort. So we don't want to put ourselves in predicaments or keep ourselves in positions like that when we realize that this is an ongoing pattern that we don't like. Fifth one is going to be physical affection. You notice they avoid hugs or kisses, or maybe they quickly just withdraw from you. Let's say you go to hold their hand and they pull back, or you're sitting across from each other and you rub your foot across their foot and they snatch their foot back. That's a form of physical rejection. Like, why are you doing that? Am I annoying you? Do you not want me to touch you? And it makes us question ourselves. Then why are you even here? And then our next one is going to be, and I think this is another huge one. We request to see them or maybe spend time with them, and they ignore us or they repeatedly turn us down. And maybe they don't verbally turn us down. Maybe they say, I'll be over this weekend or I'll be over today. And then as the day comes to an end, you realize maybe you haven't heard from this person and they said they were coming, but you haven't heard from them and they still haven't showed up. And then eventually they don't show up. Or, let's say you do hear from them. They're like, oh, yeah, I'm on my way. But before I come, I got 20, 50,000, 50, 11 things to do. So if you have all of these other things that you consider important to you to do before you come, then why are you coming? Why are you making me the last thing that you do today? And that's another form of minimum rejection. I'm not sure how many I said I had, but we'll go from there. And so, what do we want to do if we find ourselves in a situation where we feel like our partner or our potential mate is rejecting us in these minimum ways? The first thing we want to do is we want to acknowledge our feelings. We're allowed to feel this way. We could be wrong, but if it's a constant stream, a constant pattern, we're probably not wrong and we need to pay attention to that. I feel like this person is rejecting me. So I'm acknowledging that I feel this way. The second thing we should do is we should address it with this person. And I know sometimes, if you're not a very verbal person, such as myself, I'm not quick to address things with the person. I might hold on to it for a couple of days before I speak up on it. And I'm working on changing that. But we definitely want to address it with this person so that there is no misunderstanding. I'm not misunderstanding that I feel like you're rejecting me if this is what you truly are doing. And the only way we'll know is by addressing it. Now, they could be honest and it could just be an oversight on them, or they could be dishonest and you crazy, girl, you tripping. Boy, I ain't rejecting you. You making that up. So those are things we want to pay attention to. And then the third thing, pay attention. Pay attention to patterns in this person, if they're constantly intentionally rejecting us or just absent-minded sometimes. And that goes into the second one that I said, by addressing it. So once we address it, if they're still consistently showing this pattern, then it's probably because they're intentionally doing it. They're not working on trying to gain, to give us some understanding on why they're making us feel rejected. And then our fourth thing is know your worth. Know your worth and when it is time to walk away. Do I want to continue to tolerate this negative pattern that you're introducing or have been doing throughout our relationship or our association? Or do I want to just stop it here and move on because this isn't going anywhere? I love myself enough to know I don't have to tolerate this and I'm better than this and I can move on. So know your worth. I hope this helps you out, help you guys out. Make sure you love, like, and share my content on all on your social medias. If no one told you they love you today, I love you. Have a blessed day.